So our question now is, which of these is better? We've got the big boy with all the fun toys on it. We've got the basic boy, and we've got another basic boy. This one's a cheaper basic boy, and this one's a sort of metally and heat shrink tubing basic boy. Now, to help us make this determination, we've actually brought in Cat 6A cable to help us do the trick. It took me a while to find it, but I did finally find it, and we will be turning this into full patch cable because we've also got, come on, the RJ45s to go with it. So, to kind of start off, we're going to have to section it off and then go from there. So, this isn't the shielded stuff, so we're not going to have to do any weird ovaling or anything like I was kind of halfway hoping to. So none of the stores around here had it, but they did have this. So they had this, and there's a kink in here. So I'm going to take my appropriately sized pliers with appropriately sized cutting and cut that boy off real quick. So we can see on the inside here we've got our string that's pretty typical. We can yank that out. Anyway, so now that we've got that set up, we've got to go through, get our sections and strip it all. And also to help us do that, got the tools here, our crimper and then our electrician's scissors. So kind of like I said, starting off, I think what we want to do is do a shorter run of cable. So we'll go standard measure 1, and then from the elbow all the way up 2. And I mean, for most a couple of the runs that I am looking at doing, this should be sufficient enough. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3. And that should be roughly half of our cable that we have left over for other applications. So, we're going to go in a particular order for reasons. And so, yeah, and this will end up being like one of those, this is how you do it too, because we're going to go through this like 3 different times. So, because I've got 3 tools and I've got 6 RJ45s, we're going to make 6 patch cables. And I think I want to reposition myself ever so slightly. Okay, now that I'm got a better angle, it'll also give us a good close-up of what's going on, maybe. But, so we've got our cable, and this is going to be a process I'm going to have to follow through like the whole process anyway. So I may cut these bits out and just live with it. So we're just going to grab our crimper over here. So this crimper is one of the Klein Tools crimpers, and it does have the wiring standards for 568B and 568A, but it's got the cut and strip section. I mean, I've used the strip section quite a bit. It does trim RJ45s and it does support RJ11. Let's see. There is a USOC standard. That one, or no. For RJ45, there is a USOC standard that they have on the box. But anyway, this isn't about this. It's about these 3 boys over here. So to start off, we just kind of like take it in our stripper. And with the particular, okay. I think, yeah, I think we're pretty dandy with that one. I don't think we got any, nope, we didn't get any nicks in it. So we're going to go through and of course lose the sheath because we don't need it anymore. So we come in here, just clamp it down enough to strip it, and then clear it out that way. And then we split our twisted pairs away because we've got to get to the core here. And for some reason we've got our thread over here wrapped around this one. See, if this were Cat 6A instead of just regular Cat 6 unshielded, if this were shielded Cat 6 cable, it would have a bare metal wire going through it. So as basically dowsing wire to grab any like possible EMI that would pop up. So yeah, we're splitting these bits apart away here so that we can get to the core and trying to keep it in line and also not kill our twisted pairs. And yeah, so now we get onto the fun bit. So now that we have our cable prepped, we are going to start with the one that hopefully I can bear to do this with for long enough to make it last. Come on. So this one is pretty interesting because you've got to go at it like this, and then you basically slowly untwist it as you go. And then what you're expected to do is you hold it down like this. Now, so in the process of doing this, what I found interesting is that I hit these spots where it would bind like this within the thing. So I ended up having to like go back, untwist it, and then come back through again. So I didn't always get the straightest cables. The first couple times I did this, it worked like flawlessly. It was really smooth. I'm like, I'm very impressed. It was going to be like, okay, cool. So this is a worthwhile purchase. And then I got past the fourth or fifth twisted pair that I was untwisting, and it started catching and binding. And then it's like, oh, yeah, okay, I see why this is not quite as highly praised online. So, again, you keep running into these twisted pairs, it binds up, it creates a spot here. And so doing this with Cat 6A repeatedly and having to deal with this, it's supposed to make you quicker and more effective and save your fingers, but it ends up just becoming a nuisance because you're always binding. So, and you can get these in packs of multiples, and they make them for different cables. So like Cat 7, Cat 6, Cat 5e, what have you, and they're halfway mixed together. And you can get a double-ended one that has, come on, focus. Come on, buddy. There we go. You can get one that does various different cables. So you've got like one sizing here for Cat 6A or Cat 7. Then you've got like the other over on this end. And it's just a mess. So this one feels nice. It feels like it should be nice, but it's like a Bic pen, basically. And I don't know if I would really feel happy recommending this. Because, like, again, it binds up really well, and it just doesn't feel as nice. And you still end up using come on. If you don't pull your cable through, you still end up using your fingers to do it all as well. And I don't know if it's like the way it's designed, but this kind of design, there are a couple design choices that they made when you look at the inside of it that you kind of notice in how simple it is that could have been executed better, that actually plays into kind of like some of the designs of some of the others as well. And I think they can improve it, honestly. But as it stands, it's not a very good design for this application. So, yeah. And I think that I can touch on that a bit later once we get on to the later ones. So I'm going to make sure that... So let's see, we've got that, we've got that. Let's trim this piece of the core. Our brown twisted pairs came out a little bit more. Probably because they got pulled through. Because this cable's basically short enough to where you can pull it through easily, the twisted pairs, if you do it right. Okay, so you'll notice that like it tells you what the standards are here. I've done enough patch cables at this point that I can just like go off-road and do it. And what I usually like to do is get my center pairs lined up. And if I can do it really nicely, it ends up being a lot easier because I get these ones lined up and I get them centered. And then we can go to the outside, hopefully, and just twist those around as we need. And if it works out well, no, my green has switched over sides. But anyway, my blues lined up perfectly, so I don't even have to touch it. And then my oranges line up just right. So I end up with this. I didn't have it under the camera, but... And then, and then I'll just kind of go through like this. Make sure it's all lined up. And then we grab the pair of shears, which is also Klein Tools electrician shears, which I did not buy. I don't think I'm going to get to keep this particular pair, but I may pick up my own down the road. And then we will take the RJ45. Pass that through the holes. Stuff that all the way in. I would have loved to show off ovaling pretty well with a Cat 6A cable, but I didn't have that. And then here's the best part about pass-through, okay? Which my school did not have anything pass-through wise. 1, 2, 3, boom. And it's done. So it's seated in there. You can see, and like you can even verify the twisted pairs are in the right order before they come out. So let's get one more go of this underneath the camera real quick. So we go like this. We pull this around like that. We yank that like that. And then we twist that around. We keep our blues in the center. And then we twist our browns around. And then we ignore the garage door opening behind us. And then We squeeze all that together. Come on, buddy. And yeah, it's halfway happy. Okay, so now that completes that one cable. Completed it after pausing for 2 seconds, but... So now, obviously, this one I said I couldn't recommend too well. But, yeah. Take 2 seconds, get this stripped up, and then we'll get to untwisting it. Okay, so now I've got both of those undone. Well, come on. So we've got both of these undone. I kind of have a pretty good habit of when I am mass producing cables, for the most part prepping the ends so that they're ready to go. So, and then I can just go through, untwist, and then just start crimping on ends. So the next one we're going to go through is our little alligator boy. And I think, yeah, I'm not going to say too much, but the one thing about this process with this particular one is you are going to have to untwist these by hand, the ends. So it's going to be... Come on, bro. Don't do this to me. So, yeah, you're going to have to untwist the twisted pairs by hand. And I guess in some ways you could just mass straighten them, but basically, all you're going to do is take the clip like this. And I mean, yeah, you still got opportunity for it to get caught, but for the most part, it comes out pretty straight. So we can come through here. And just clamp down on these and be done with it. We can come through here. We can make sure that they're untwisted halfway properly. Clamp them down and just straighten them. Clamp in here. Boom. Boom. And this actually is pretty quick, so you can see initially when I showed this off, it's kind of got those dimples in there, and so you can go at it any way you want to. So it's kind of got those alligator teeth going on. So if we go to the other end here, we just have to untwist it by hand. And then untwist by hand. Come on. Unclip. That's basically all that happened. So depending on your cable, the twists are going to be tighter. So keep that in mind. So you may or may not have an easier time with tighter twists going on. Let's see. Straight end, straight end, straight end, and then finally straight end. Okay, so yeah, pretty simple. I mean, this one really isn't bad, so I could honestly feel like I could recommend it if you're really looking for something for a group to get all at once to make it easier, or just to I don't know. If you're doing like big batches of cables and you need to straighten out twisted pairs, but like you've got a team of you doing it, it's a decent option. It's not the best you're gonna get, but it's gonna be a pretty decent option, being as you're basically paying $9 for 3 of them that come in a package, like I showed off in the other video. So you still got to do this thing, but to some extent, come on, buddy. Could almost get away with going like this. Kind of line everything up. Make sure it's all happy. As wise old Bob Ross would say, we don't make mistakes, we make happy little accidents. And snip it off. Cap it. Double check our wires. And then we can clamp her down. Just like so. Dude, what happened? The freak? How's our tip look? I mean, huh. I guess we're okay. Anyway, yeah. So, again, this one's, I guess, an okay deal for it. It doesn't take up that much space like this one does. And it sure as heck isn't like a pen like this one, but it still doesn't take up a lot of space. You can still easily pocket that one or slip it into a corner somewhere. And I know some people complain that this one is a waste of space, but anyway, yeah. So you're getting a pretty good deal with that one there. You're getting a package deal for the most part. It's all you can buy. So if you're like looking to buy one for a tool for you and a bunch of other guys, then yeah, it works out pretty well. I would feel happy recommending it. You can still get some like good angles and pull on it and pull it all together to make it look nice. So come on, Brown, don't do this to me. Okay, cool. And then we snip it. And then we crimp it. Again, I kind of wish I had Cat 6A to show off, but I don't. So our colors are good. And then we crimp that puppy down. That one worked. Whatever. Anyway, gonna prep this one the rest of the way, and then we'll get on to the final one. Okay, so this one is the one where we get things really interesting. So this is the part that is where all the action happens for the most part. This end here. So you've got the straightening bit and then like the untwisting bit. You've got some strippers on here and cutters and what have you that do their own thing. So like, do I still have that nub? Yeah. So like I could stick this in here and technically like clamp it down here, and again, it's not the best. You're not buying it for this purpose, so killing that part on this really isn't that bad. You can see that it kind of like clips in pretty well, but the main part is this end here. So all we do is we go in like this and we start inserting it like so. So you'll notice that we can pull pretty straight here, and then once we line it up just right, we can clamp down here and pull it straight. And this makes our wires pretty straightened out real quick. We don't really have to think about it that hard. And then, boom. And then, boom. And then finally, boom. So we can see they come out, they don't really have too much like twisting in them now that they are out. They do have like that bend in them because of how the straightening works. So like it creates that little bit of friction that adds the curve to it. And this works in a very interesting way that kind of is the downfall of that pen style one. And it's really the way that they designed the spin bit that you do all the untwisting action in. Come on. You do run into this problem where like it doesn't always want to start really well with you, that I've noticed. So like sometimes it can be a little bit picky about getting started. So you do have to work through that. It not always wanting to go into the holes properly all the time. So you do need to look out for that. But other than that, it's like pretty quick. So you'll notice that it's got that little divider in the center there. And if this pen one had that, this would have been a lot better. But they didn't add that to it. So now you're stuck with this one basically doing it. Because if they would have had that split in there, it would have been a lot easier to recommend it. And plus it would have made it easier for one of these tools to be universal for all cables. Because you have that split in there. And so you're not just stuck with like one thickness of cable or twisted pair wiring with this because of that split. And so it doesn't bind up on each other and allow the twist to block up in here like this one does. So you end up winning with this one because of that divider in there. And plus, this is pretty easy to work with, and I haven't quite tried it, but you could almost just like slap that down and then like pull on this and go. The other thing is the straightener part. All you're doing literally is lining those holes almost up straight and then just clamping down a little bit and then pulling away to straighten those wires. And it's pretty quick, as you saw. I think we did that quicker than most of the others. But yeah, this is probably the, like, when it comes to straightening stuff and saving your hands, especially in batch situations, this hands down is probably the better one you're going to look at getting. And it's going to be like $15 to get this versus like the $7 you're going to pay for one of these, or even the $9 you're going to pay for the plastic boy over here. But for the most part, this will get your job done. And I've already been through like 4 RJ45s, 3 or 4 RJ45s with you, so I'm not going to like blow your mind by doing that again and again for you. So if you enjoyed the video, then like, comment, subscribe, feed the algorithm, boost the video up, share this video with your friends. If you found it informative or you just want to chat, I've got plenty of places in the description, Discord, Guilded, and what have you. Check those out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, so I know I said I wouldn't make you deal with this again, but as I've been like doing all those cables and untwisting wires and whatnot, I've started to think of this whole 568B thing. So you'll notice that you get the blue ones, and you've got the green ones that are surrounding it, and it's like the green fertile riverbank, and then you've got the orange, which is kind of like a desert that's on one side of the river, and it's kind of like that weird Minecraft biome of sand and everything else. And then on the other side of the river, you've got your brown, which is basically your pretty fertile farmland dirt. And so you've got a nice grassy riverbank with a desert on the west side and farmland on the east side. So, yeah, there's that. And sometimes I think of it as like, oh, yep, desert on one side of the river side and like dirt on the other.